All right, so I think we should go ahead and get started here. So as I said before, welcome everybody, and thanks to all our vendors that are going to help participate within this call. First thing we're going to talk about is D&H modern solutions and what that means. So as D&H, as we looked at our cloud solution platform and some of our other solutions that we have within our core marketplace, such as security and UCaaS and things of those natures, we found that it was pretty hard to navigate kind of a lot of our solutions and figure out where you're supposed to call, who you're supposed to be in contact with, who's your sales rep for these individual vendors. So that's kind of where the modern solutions moniker came in. One of the things that we looked at doing was making that easier for you to be able to communicate within the organization with the people that you wanted to talk to and about the solutions you wanted to talk to. So if you haven't noticed, there's been a kind of a change as we moved from DNH Cloud Solutions to the modern moniker, and it really segmented the solution set out. So now we have a solution of modern applications, and modern applications includes all of Microsoft's solutions, all of our SaaS products that would fall into that nature. Then we have modern security, which includes SonicWall, Sophos, Cisco Cloud Solutions, and a plethora of other security solution sets that are within there. Our managed services is really about the solutions that you would buy as being an MSP. So things like ConnectWise, Acronis that does backup, and then also our white label managed services products that are available to you. And then finally, our modern collaboration really includes our hosted PBX solutions like Nextiva and Avaya. Also, some of the collaboration products like Dropbox and other solutions like that. So a lot of the leaders of those individual categories will be on this call today and be having some of the communication and talking about some of their solution set with you. So that will be the people today. So obviously, Ryan Flynn, I'm already introduced myself. We also have John Flynn, who's the Senior Cloud Vendor Manager for our Unified Communications, which is now Modern Collaborations. Nate Hatala, which is Cloud Vendor Business Manager and Practice Leader for our Managed Services portion. And then finally, we'll have everything cleared up with Cisco by Mark Jacobs, who's a System Engineer from Cisco. So those will kind of be your main people that will be speaking today, and we'll be kind of doing a kind of cross collaboration, I would say, as we present some scenarios and talk about the different solutions and how they work within those scenarios. So just to give you a heads up, there will be, if you stay till the end, a chance to win a $100 Amazon gift card. So make sure you stay at the very end and complete your poll questions and obviously ask questions as we go along, and we'll have a Q&A session at the end of the presentation. I did want to go ahead and thank our featured vendors here. So Acronis Backup obviously is a great solution. Axient Backup as well. Avaya Phone Solutions. Cisco, I think everyone is aware who they are, as well as Lenovo and Microsoft. SonicWall and VadeSecure. VadeSecure is a newer name to the game, and they're doing email security for Office 365. So the next slide I want to get into is kind of where we're going to go and address the scenarios. So we have obviously our modern solutions work set, as I explained a little bit earlier. Our first scenario, which we're going to go through, is getting back into physical failure or issues that we're talking about with business continuity. I would say about 2 years ago, whenever we started kind of moving into our current life within pandemic measures, business continuity kind of got skewered by, it used to be talking about the business and how the business had these solutions in place to continue running. And then it went into like, all right, well, business continuity really means my people can now work from home or they can work from anywhere. Now that we're kind of coming out of the pandemic, we thought it's good to get back into talking about what it means as a business to have business continuity. And that means, the backup solutions that you have to have in place, the SaaS products you need to have, the things that run on redundancy is really what is important for a business to run. So if you remember, we used to talk about BDR solutions and what happens if your building burned down and the business, what would happen whenever you lost all of your customer data. These were very big topics that used to happen pre-pandemic, and I think a lot of the solutions were solved, as we moved into that pandemic model. But now, as we move out of it, I think it's something that we have to readdress and think about. Looking at different hybrid models, looking at hosted PBX solutions. So, some of the stuff I wanted to talk about, some examples of that is our network devices, servers. So on-prem servers have a very high, volatility rate. So, failure of it, backup solutions for it, hybrid models. When we look at moving into infrastructure as a service, where are we going with that? So, some of the things that D&H, has in place for solutions of that nature is, infrastructure as a service. We actually just created a whole entire new team that is going to cover infrastructure as a service. That will be led by Damon Kegerice, who will be the director of that. That solution set is really going to start pulling in some big name vendors. So that's going to include Cisco Data Center, HPE, Lenovo, Azure. And really Azure is one of our biggest lead-ins that we're looking at today as we look into some of those hardware solution sets that are going to have a hybrid model, or just moving everything into an Azure model. When I think about business continuity and on-prem hardware, it is starting to be an issue where if you're still running an on-prem domain controller and your VPN goes down, or that server goes down, and you have people working remotely, you're looking at your login issues. You're looking at different problems that you're going to have. Same with an on-prem Exchange server. If you haven't moved over to something like Office 365 yet, or if you're hosting on a virtual machine within a server on-prem that is running your Outlook, it's definitely something that we need to look at as a business on, all right, we were able to stay up and keep running during the pandemic and provide work for people from home, but what happens now? What happens when we start moving them back in? What happens when we go into a hybrid model? What happens if we still have this failure of on-prem devices, and how do we back them up? How do we bare metal restore them? How do we get back to our business back, if there is a catastrophe? So, Nate, I think you have a few things that you wanted to go over. I think when we look at business continuity, NOC and SOC are definitely some of the things that we want to, look at and have monitoring and management of our on-prem devices.
Yeah, Ryan, I think you highlighted a couple really, really important points around equipment failure. And one thing I wanted to bring up, these devices, eventually they don't last forever, right? So we all know that they're gonna fail at some point, right? The challenge there is not so much preventing them from failing, but it's more having a plan and being able to mitigate that risk effectively. A couple things, you touched on it, like NOC's a great one. You should always have visibility into the devices that your customers have in their environment. You should know either at the same time or before they know that something went down. So, certainly we have a great suite of products that can help you monitor environments, whether it be, ConnectWise or LineGuard. But also, for some MSPs or resellers, they might not have the internal capabilities to do that, or perhaps just the bandwidth, right? So D&H has a full suite of managed services that include NOC services, where they can monitor the state and remediation status of any challenges within that network, right? And certainly elevate a response back to the service provider. And then ultimately, at the end of the day, too, should something break beyond repair, just making sure that you have a good BDR solution in place, and you have redundancy in your data set, so that whether it's replacing a laptop or a server, you're able to quickly restore that data from the last image. So. I think when it comes to equipment failure, Ryan, it's not so much a question of if, but when.
Yeah, I agree. And when you think about even the longer tail of something like that, think about your bandwidth. What happens today if your bandwidth goes down? Do you have a backup redundant bandwidth line? Do you have a 5G backup? Things like that are also something that are redundant, and you could have a business continuity plan built into that a lot of people don't think about today. So we at D&H also have those products available to you. I know John Flynn. John, do you have anything that you would like to go over in that nature?
Yeah, Ryan, as far as business continuity goes, from the perspective of a phone system, right? I can't tell you, I sold phone systems for 15 years, and, the server for the email or the voicemail system went down all the time. And, voicemail is really, besides the active person on the phone, it's a lifeline for most businesses. And, on the UCaaS side, where everything is in the cloud, that continuity is always there, right? Even if you're working from home, like if I'm working from home today and I lose power, my phone is still connected to the UC's provider, right? So at least I can get my calls. From the bandwidth perspective, though, yeah, a lot of people order, a big gig circuit, and what happens is Billy Bob down the street, he puts his backhoe into the ground and cuts up all the fiber, and there's a fiber outage for a couple of days, and people can't be out of service for, especially voice and email. I mean, a lot of work is done via email these days, but people can't be out. So we've built our structure in the UC team here that provides not only that hard wired line solution, but also a wireless solution. So we partner with AT&T, T-Mobile, Spectrum, you name it. We're providing solutions. No matter where you are in the U.S., we can provide that continuity to all of our customers.
I agree. I mean, I think it is a big thing, and like I said, I've had that happen before, where we were providing services to a customer, and someone took out the pole in front of their building, and they're down for 2.5 days, and we're trying to scramble to get them back up and running. So, and that leads us into one of, I think, the biggest things that comes into play is backup. When we look at having a BDR or having a failover device in market, I mean, they 10 years ago, they were probably the biggest thing that everyone was getting their foot in the door from an MSP perspective, and they still rely on them today. I mean, there's CEOs out there that if they lost their laptop, they'd be in a lot of trouble. They'd lose all of their contact information. They lose all of their data. I mean, one of the best ways to ever gain business was to find someone that their backup failed. It was a big thing whenever I was out selling managed services. And, I know Nate has a couple of products that he could probably run through you, but the big thing is making sure the solution's backed up, making sure it has continuity built into it. Can it go live on-prem if a server goes down? Can it go live in the cloud if the server goes down? Can we spool up a virtual machine and dump someone's hard drive onto it and have them up and running within the hour if their hardware fails? I think there's a lot of things that fall into a business continuity solution that people need to think about and make sure that they have a contingency to be able to replicate. So, Nate, do you have anything on the backup and DDR
I was going to say
solution?
One of the things that we're seeing a little bit more frequently than perhaps we used to is the prevalence of doing full system backup for endpoint devices. So, previously, obviously, it was a no-brainer to back up your critical infrastructure via servers, right? But a lot of times, you would only back up like a folder on an endpoint device, right? Now, with the cost and the pricing models through, some of these solutions, Axion has a great flat price where it's all you can eat, essentially backup. There's no per gig fee. It's a flat cost. Acronis has several flexible options there where you're actually seeing, organizations start to back up their entire device, right, versus just like perhaps a saved data folder. Particularly for industries that have like, a high cost of compute per hour for critical workflows, right? So think like CAD, think computer-assisted design, computer animation, things of that nature where you're using really high-powered PCs, and time's really money for kind of the compute cycles that are being done on those systems. So, I would encourage everyone to think about, for what the cost difference would be. Is it worthwhile actually having all of your employee systems fully backed up, so if there is a failure on one of those devices, you can have them up and running on a fresh piece of hardware as if nothing happened in a matter of minutes or at maximum hours.
I agree. I think the time to get back up to speed and have not have employees sitting on their hands or not be able to take orders or any of that stuff needs to happen in a timely fashion, and having a plan in place for any of your customers is probably the key thing to be able to prove to them that you understand their environment and can get them back up and running as fast as possible. So that kind of covers equipment failure. I think the next phase that we wanted to go into was talking about digital intrusion. So we look at theft of data or DDoS attacks or all these different things that are happening in today's environment, and how some of these solutions come into play with that. I looked at a lot of things whenever I was a managed service provider, and the one thing that we always looked at was, were we able to roll back, right? So, someone would come in, you get hit with ransomware, they'd call you and say, all my data, people want $30,000 for all my data. Now, I had a backup solution in place. I'd say, all right, let's roll it back 20 minutes ago and fix the firewall, and we're back up and running in no time. One of those things is a very, very cost-saving, time-saving, monetary-saving ability to be able to do that. And if you don't have a consistent backup, you're not doing consistent testing of that backup, those are things that really fall into place. And that's where it comes into endpoint security. Most of the issues that we run into today, unfortunately, are related to our employees, right? They're the ones that are clicking and opening an email, or they're accepting some free offer from someone and filled out their information, and boom, the bad guys are in. So endpoint security, I think, is still a big deal. I mean, as you look as an MSP, every customer you have is going to say, all right, well, do I have antivirus in place? Do I have the things that are covering it? And at D&H, we have stuff like that are available to you. We have multiple different antivirus solutions, multiple different email coverage solutions. So thing like, endpoint security, we can look at, capturing their endpoint and doing like the sonic wall capture solution. For internet security, we have things like Cisco Umbrella and sonic wall content filtering through the firewall. But then we get into email security. Email seems to be the biggest entry point for any type of security solution that we have today. So things like Proofpoint or Vade Secure. Microsoft does a pretty good job of having a security solution in place for their Office 365. They actually just stepped it up in the past month and kind of made it more improvement. But we're still seeing that the adding on an additional layer is really beneficial. I mean, those layers are still catching 60 to 70% more intrusions than Microsoft does on a regular basis. They're also being able to have backup solutions built into those. So Microsoft Office 365 has 30-day backup. You click delete and delete stuff out of your deleted emails. A lot of people don't realize that, and it's gone. And not being able to have a recovery solution in place for any of those is a pretty big hole in a lot of security solutions today. So I know like a lot of that is covered. A lot of that are solutions that are kind of built in, but you always should look at the add-on solution that's really going to take you above and beyond, especially for things like financial solutions, banks, anything like that, where you'll have like a 7-year redundancy, you have some type of compliancy that you have to follow. Definitely reach out to the people at D&H, your sales reps, to be able to have that conversation, to be able to bring it on. And then the third layer really is, having a SOC, having someone monitoring your firewall, monitoring your switches, monitoring your network to make sure everything is up and down. There is no intrusion. Nate's solution set really falls into play there. So I think, some SOC solutions, some monitoring and management solutions. Nate, what do you have, to go off of for some stuff like that when it comes to intrusion?
Yeah, I think one of the important things to think about is, when you're talking to your customers, certainly as a service provider, depending where you are at as far as the business maturity level, it can be extremely expensive to launch your own SOC, right? You have to buy the platform. The cost in human capital for people's security skills is extremely great, right? And if you don't immediately have a revenue stream to activate around that offering, it might take a while where you're actually burning through cash till you actually build that reoccurring revenue model to kind of subsidize that cost to go on the market with your in-house SOC offering. What I would propose is, some of our options that we have through our D&H Managed Services group, you can basically have a current security provider basically provide those services on your behalf, right? And it allows you to offer those solutions and those types of services to your customers without making that upfront investment, right? Meaning that you can literally activate a new line of business for yourself with zero upfront investment. And likewise, you're going to address the needs that your customers have there. I mean, I think, Ryan, every day it seems like we see, something about a security breach on the news, right? I mean, it's forefront in all of our customers' minds. So I always say, the challenge there is, if that's not something that you can provide them today, whether in-house or through a third-party service that could be white labeled to look and feel like you're providing it, your customer is going to have to look elsewhere, and then you're just kind of opening the door for one of your competitors to come in and displace your bread and butter business. So, I would encourage everyone, if they're not offering SOC services, either from a standpoint of something they're providing in-house or minimally, here again, being able to kind of outsource those services on behalf of the customer. And then lastly, I think you hit another nail around the head, having a good, solution, assuming that the prevent strategy didn't work for security, right, and something did occur, having a good solution to be able to kind of roll back to the next point before that occurred. And honestly, those points are getting closer together, Ryan. Acronis certainly has an advanced pack that contains this feature called continuous data protection. So in the event of like a ransomware attack, for example, you don't actually have to go back and restore from your last incremental backup. You can actually roll back to the exact process before the ransomware activity was detected. So, I mean, within seconds, you're going to be able to be back up and running. It's going to quarantine the file, right? And then it's going to send alerts to you to let you know what occurred. So, these are all certainly for depending on the security requirements of your customer, depending on what market they're in. These are all options at your disposal, and it can really kind of up your customer's intrusion prevention game.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, back when I was an MSP, the big things that we looked at were, one, how do we hire and retain level 1 help desk technicians? One of the hardest things to do. I used to swear that we were just a training ground for the help desk for FedEx and a bunch of other ones that were surrounding our building. And we have solutions in place today now that we can white label and do all kinds of different things with a help desk solution. And then the next level up is really, how do I hire, afford, and be able to keep a high-end NOC engineer? You're looking at a CCNA; those are very sought after, high-paid positions, and they're not something that you need to keep on staff anymore. As you look at exporting into a SOC or and doing NOC SOC, these solutions are available to you through D&H, and we can help you provide those solutions to your customers at pretty minimal lift for you that you're able to just, make money on. So it's a pretty good solution. If you haven't looked at our solutions that we have today, reach out to Nate or the modern managed services team, and they'd be happy to get you some information on that. All right, so the last one, act of God. I mean, this used to be our bread and butter in the backup and disaster recovery industry, right? We used to talk about brimstone and fire like it was happened on every day, but it's still in play. It still happens. I remember when I used to sell backup disaster recovery devices, I would literally wait for a hurricane to hit Florida, and I would start calling businesses in Florida to say, do you have anything backing up your server before it floods? But honestly, it's still true. I mean, hurricanes, the tornadoes, fires, they all happen. Theft is a big one now. I mean, that people go in and just steal hardware out of offices and burn them down and take the copper out of them or whatever they do with them. It still comes into play. So the big things that we can look at from that standpoint that D&H offers today really is looking at an infrastructure as a service play. Are we at a hybrid model, or are we going full infrastructure as a service? Moving into Azure. Looking at are you still running file shares out there? Maybe we look at something like Dropbox that is really a play which corresponds pretty much as long as a file share, but it gives a lot more collaboration. Moving into something where Teams or even using the whole Office 365 suite to kind of supplement some of the servers that you have. You can do a domain controller directly through there now. Some of the Azure bundles that they have available are definitely solutions that are good. And then when you look at things like unified communication, I mean these really come into play in the act of God realm, where we can if you have something on-prem, if you have an old Toshiba phone system that's sitting in a closet, like what happens when the building burns down and you have no IVR anymore? Customers can't call in. You can't do any of those stuff. I mean, John, what do you have to cover some of those scenarios?
Yeah, so we're featuring Avaya today, right? Avaya, probably the largest name in the world when it comes to phone systems. They've purchased, over the years, Nortel. They've purchased Lucent. I mean, they've got so many on-prem systems out there that, they were late to the game. I'll admit it. They were late to the game and getting into the UCaaS space. But what they did, and I thought was really smart, was they didn't try to reinvent the wheel, right? That wheel's already been invented by a number of other vendors. What they did was they partnered with RingCentral. They're the largest UCaaS vendor that's out there. So that's their platform, right? RingCentral's platform. What they do different, though, is they wrap around their cloud, right? They have this very robust cloud practice. And they have built specific apps that ride on top of the RingCentral solution. They also have things like DAS, right? So RingCentral is a complete SaaS play. Avaya also has a hardware division, right? So when you're buying your UCaaS solution, you need a headset. You know, it's all in one. You can do that as a device as a service. I think the big thing, though, I think the big takeaway today, I think for most of the people on the phone that aren't selling UCaaS today is, you know, don't be afraid of it. You don't need to be a voice expert when you're selling UCaaS. Some of the top resellers in the industry selling UCaaS today are companies that they don't know anything about voice. But you think about Office Max, right? You know, that's all, you know, it's desks and chairs and paper and things of that nature. They're one of the #1 resellers of UCaaS in the market today. There's also Konica Minolta, right? They sell coffee machines. But in the advent, or unfortunately the advent of COVID, their business model has really, you know, has suffered a lot. People aren't buying paper, they're not buying toner, they're not taking care of or taking advantage of the maintenance. But they have found alternative ways to keep that recurring revenue coming in. And Avaya allows you to be involved or as uninvolved as you want in a sale, right? You could just typically just throw it over the fence and they'll go do everything for you from cradle to grave. If you want to be involved in the sales process, great. If you want to get certified on how to do the installation and take, you know, credit for their pro services charges, absolutely, they'll let you do it. But I think, you know, just knowing that, you know, we're all in sales. Those slow months where, you know, that big hardware deal didn't come through. If you have this recurring annuity type business that comes in and month out, and I'll take 1 minute to explain how that works, Ryan, real quick. I know we're pressed up against time, but the model works as a think about your insurance agent, right? Your insurance agent can sell you a plethora of solutions, different insurance companies, but he gets paid on a commissions basis from, you know, say it's State Farm or Farmers. He gets paid monthly as long as his customers are a customer of that insurance company. It's the same way with UCaaS. For as long as your customer is with, you know, Avaya, they will pay you for indefinitely, as long as your customer stays with Avaya. And they really do sweeten the pot by offering upfront bonuses, right? Right now, there's like a 7x MRR spiff. So let's just say you sell a deal, it's $1,000 a month. They'll give you $7,000 up front. Now, that would really incentivize a sales team to go out there and sell something. I don't know what you could sell of about 50 seats. That's about $1,000, I guess, in recurring revenue, and make $7,000 up front, and then you make 22% on a monthly basis on that $1,000. So that's $220 a month times 12. If I did the math real quick, I'm not really good with math, but it's about, you know, pretty close to $3,000 plus the $7,000 up front. That's $10,000 for selling 50 seats. And again, you don't have to have people that are experts. You don't have to do collections or billing. You don't have to do troubleshooting. All that's handled by Avaya and any one of our UCaaS vendors. But I really think that, you know, they're saying that 80% of companies are going to move to some sort of a work from home hybrid type environment. Having this, I think, as one of the solutions that you're offering to your customers, number one, it'll bring, I think, it'll bring a lot of money into your organization. I mean, that's number one. But number two, I think you become that trusted advisor for your customers, right? Someone that they can rely on. And that's really what D&H is here for. So whether it's, you know, the UCaaS solution, business continuity, digital intrusion solutions for security, I mean, at the end of the day, that's what D&H wants to bring to our partners, that full solution as opposed to just a product sale. So I think that's really where the modern solutions came from, Ryan, and that's where we're trying to get to with our partners.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you look at what a business needs today in order to run, they're all buying phone solutions or they all have one in place. They're all buying bandwidth or they have one in place. Now you just want them to buy through you, which D&H can help you provide that solution to your customers. So it's a missed opportunity. Like if you're not out there trying to get that business today and you're just going after server or desktop or hardware, you know, it's a missed opportunity, and it's so easy to get started on. It's so easy to manage. It's so easy. It's literally, you know, set it and forget it. You can, you know, go with one of the providers that John has available, and they will do all of the work for you from rollout, the construction, to everything. And as long as you can get the customers on board and involved and have them on a call, they will provide all the solutions for you. So John, thanks for that. I think some of the other things that we have to look at as far as, you know, what we move into from a traditional standpoint is software as a service. What can we move from a traditional server into software as a service. Obviously, we know we can get rid of Exchange servers now and move to O365 or M65, but some of the other solution sets that are available out there that we can look into as far as, there's a whole plethora of solutions. And one of the big things I would recommend that any of you do on this call is look at the Azure Marketplace. So even things that D&H has available are very beneficial, but if you haven't reached out to your Azure person that are on our teams in the infrastructure as a service team, they can really help you kind of put together a solution set that is available through the Azure Marketplace. And there's hundreds and hundreds of different vendors on there. So really great solution that you'll be able to talk with your customers about and look at solutions that you might be available to offer to your customers in the near future. All right, so I think that covers. Go ahead, Nate. Do you have anything you want to add?
I was going to say just real quick here. What I find interesting about this last topic is that arguably we're in the midst of probably the largest business continuity exercise in history here, right? Certainly, as a result of COVID-19, we've all had to figure out how we continue to keep our business operating in non-traditional ways, right? And with COVID, it was simply that we couldn't all be in the same place, and when we saw the ability of organizations to cope with that, some were further ahead than others, right? Like they'd already implemented some of these collaboration solutions, or even something as simple as, are they furnishing their employees with laptops versus desktops, right? So that they can pick them up and take them home and still be viable. When you're talking to a customer, I would imagine, hey, it's like, remember what it was like when COVID started, right? But now pretend that, in that sense, we just all had to send all of our employees home, but obviously the infrastructure of the building was still there, right? Your server and stuff was still intact, right? So in the case of a fire or flood, it's like basically what everyone's already experienced, just the next level of terrible, right? So that's why it's so important that you also plan around, things like having a DRAS solution, things like that, right? So that when you do lose those physical assets, people don't relive that experiment that we just went through when we had to send all of our employees home, except to a more heightened degree, right? Making sure that we can still maintain all of our business critical systems, regardless of what actually is transpiring.
Yeah, I agree. There's a reason why the insurance industry of the world is starting to look at IT and infrastructure as something that you can insure now, right? So that should just tell you right there that this is a viable thing that is going to happen in our industry in the now and in the near future. It's only going to get bigger, so it's something to capitalize on and move into. All right, so we have we just wanted to put up here and thank some of our partnerships that we have, but just quick, how do I get a hold of the people? How do I talk to the different teams within D&H to kind of get started with some of these solutions? So obviously modern applications, it's actually modern applications at DNH.com. I have that email address wrong on that one. Modern infrastructure at DNH.com. Modern collaboration is the same, modern collaboration at DNH.com. So all of these different ones you can reach out to. They're more than happy to help you out with all the different solution sets that we have available within our marketplace and on our line card. Reach out to them, ask them different questions. Any questions that you have on today's call will obviously answer and direct you in the right format. But if you're looking to get into a business, a disaster recovery solution or a hybrid model or, any of the other solutions that we talked about today, a phone solution, reach out to the corresponding team. As I explained, modern applications includes anything Microsoft and SaaS products. Modern infrastructure is your hardware for data center, server, and then Azure. Collaboration includes all of your hosted PBX solutions, Avaya, and then all of your kind of modern collaboration tools like WebEx and Dropbox. Modern security covers all of the gambit of security solutions that you can imagine. Managed services, the one that Nate heads up here, really covers the solutions that you can use internally. So things like ConnectWise and all these different solutions like PSA tools. And then they also go into the white labeled services that we offer. And then obviously our X as a service solution is something that you could take anything that we talked about today and add hardware onto it and sell it as a monthly recurring revenue model. So that's really something to look at. There's a great tool that was built for X as a service that is available to you today. Reach out to that team and they'd be happy to walk you through that. So before we get into our Cisco call, there's a couple poll questions we wanted to ask you guys. So we're going to go ahead and go through those now, and then we'll have Cisco talk for a little bit about all the different solutions that they're going to go over. So first poll question that we're going to go ahead and push out here is, do you classify yourself as a VAR or MSP? I think this is a big question that I have. I think we all think of ourselves as either one, a VAR, we just sell hardware, or an MSP, we sell a monthly recurring revenue model of some sort. We'd love to know and how you classify yourself and how we can help you out with that. So definitely go through that one, and I'll be happy to learn some information about how we can present some solutions to you. The other one is, which of the solutions you're interested in learning more about? Go ahead and select some of those solutions. Those are some of the vendors that we talked about today. That way we can get some information into your hands. There'll be some PDFs you'll be able to download here later, and we'll be able to get some more information to you. And then the last one is, would you be interested in having a DNH rep follow up with you? Any of the questions that you answered previously will help us out on kind of getting the direct information into your hand. But we have conversations every day with people who don't know what to do, or how do I start with a monthly recurring revenue model, or how do I start offering backup disaster recovery, or how do I start offering phone solutions? I don't know how to do that. We can walk you through that process. There's different solution sets that fit with different providers that we kind of go over with you, all the kind of high level of what they do. Maybe you want to white label it. Maybe you don't. Maybe you want to bill, and maybe you don't. So there's different solutions that fit into all those different models. So we'll be happy to walk you through all that. All right. So now that we've went through all the polling questions, we're going to go ahead and get Cisco started.
Thank you, team, for joining today. My name is Mark Jacobs. I'm with Cisco. Been a Cisco systems engineer for about 7 years, and had the lucky privilege of covering D&H for about 3 of those years. So our call today really brought up some really important things, right? How do we support a modern workforce and supporting those having a best collaboration experience, secure experience for all of our individuals, having a secure hybrid work experience. So that's with Cisco, all about hybrid work and what our solutions do to support these solutions. So what is hybrid work? I think everyone knows what this means today, but basically we want to work from anywhere, whether that's at Starbucks or the beach. I'm working from home today, as well as I'm sure a lot of you guys as well. But now we're starting to get back in the office. So how does Cisco really support every 3 of these motions, right? So let's go ahead and get into that. Ryan, next slide. You can go ahead and build this out. Awesome, perfect. So how Cisco thinks about a hybrid workplace is really about these 5 pillars. Is number 1, probably the most important, exclusivity, right? How do we make everyone feel exclusive in a collaboration hybrid call, right? So we have very new solutions and capabilities that we recently came out with that really support exclusivity, which is really, really important. Flexibility, right? All of our individuals either want that flexibility, they want to go into the office when they can, they want to work from home, they want to work from anywhere. We have solutions that will make this very collaborative and very secure, supporting this flexibility type environment. Supportive, right? All of our solutions are built in cloud that we're going to be talking about today. All of our solutions are going to be a SaaS type of solution where you can have a recurring model. But we're supporting these new models for our partners to really create choice when procuring some of these solutions. So it doesn't really matter. We're going to support how you want to deploy a hybrid work experience. Security, this is probably the most important term and topic these days. Everyone is talking about security. Cisco has been a security company, #1 security company for years now. We really are good at security. So all of the solutions that we're going to be security component to it, but we also have separate platforms for you to do extra things within your network, right? And I'll talk about that today. And then manage. I talked a little bit about this, but all of our solutions that we're going to talk about today are fully cloud-based with one single pane of glass that gives you the visibility that you need within supporting a modern workforce. Next slide, please. Perfect. So let's start with secure collaboration. We're all trying to figure this out. So how does Cisco really support secure collaboration? It's really, really easy. It's around one term, WebEx, right? So if you haven't checked out WebEx in the last, let's say, 6 months, you're really missing out on some of our latest innovations that we recently released. So right now, WebEx is a single app for calling, meeting, and messaging, all in one single pane of glass, with embedded security and compliance and multi-factor authentication. So with WebEx, you can start off with a secure collaboration workforce in a matter of hours. It takes really not a lot of knowledge, collaboration knowledge, to deploy the WebEx solution, and that's on purpose, right? It's very simple, very easy, very gives you that visibility that we all looking for within one app. So that's one place to start is WebEx. Next slide, Brian. Enhanced visibility. This is something that we are looking for today, right? So visibility is very, very important. We want to have real-time visibility into all of our applications, into all of our deployment methodologies, whether it's on-prem or cloud. We want to have visibility into the network. We want to have visibility into users and our devices, right? We're showing you these solutions on the bottom of the slide here that really do that for you. So we'll start with Meraki Thousand Eyes. So we recently released Thousand Eyes, which is a internet visibility tool. It tells you when outages are happening, why those outages are happening, and what you need to do to actually resolve those outages. That's all around Thousand Eyes. And we recently released Meraki Thousand Eyes, into the Meraki platform under Insights. So you now have visibility on the Meraki dashboard all around internet traffic and potential threats or disconnects. And then with our security products, right? So these three security products that we're going to talk about today, Umbrella, AMP, and Duo, really give you a full stack security solution where we're managing and protecting the network with Umbrella, and then we're devices with secure endpoint, what we call AMP. And if you're looking for a very easy, I can deploy in a matter of minutes, multi-factor authentication solutions, then please look at Duo. That's a very simple solution to give you multi-factor authentication in a matter of seconds. And then I talked about the Meraki Insight dashboard on how much visibility that's going to give you into your internet traffic in your current network. And then WebEx Control Hub. WebEx Control Hub is very, very impressive and truly innovative. This is really going to give you the visibility to your users, your collaboration devices, and traffic, and anything in between. Really a kind of a Meraki-like dashboard for collaboration. Kind of think of it like that with Control Hub. And then next, we're going to talk about, real quickly, security. So next slide, Ryan. Secure access, I'll be quick on this. John Paddock, our Meraki DAM, will give you a little bit more details on how we're securing our hybrid workforce solutions. But it's really simple, right? We want to provide a consistent experience, have the visibility, protect all of our users and devices in one single pane of glass. So this is where Umbrella, Secure VPN, and Secure Endpoint will give you that full stack security, as long as it's SASE. So I want to kind of pass it over to John Paddock to talk about, what's the SASE thing that we keep hearing about, and how does Cisco really help you build a SASE solution? Next slide, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for teeing that up, Mark. Again, my name is John Paddock. I'm a distribution account manager focused on D&H for Meraki. I live and bleed cloud, and the SASE solution plays right into that. This future we're all wading into is evolving fast. This hybrid work is transforming the way every organization is operating, and applications are now just hyper distributed across a increasingly diverse IT landscape. And it's important to know that all of our SASE solutions, which is going to stand for Secure Access Service Edge, are backed by the Cisco Talos team. So this is our threat intelligence team. We've got hundreds of the most talented threat researchers and data scientists in the world, blocking over 20 billion threats daily. And that's 20 times more than the next vendor. I worked at a partner once upon a time. I had a Cisco security rep come by, give their presentation, the 5th of that week, I'm sure, but he really stood out because he said, the Cisco Talos team identifying and blocking threats is the #2 action on the internet. And #1 is Google searches. So this is just astounding statistics coming out of this team and the type of work they're doing to keep everyone secure, the type of data that they're able to process. Jump to the next slide. We'll start talking about the Meraki platform here. Now this is definitely the area I'm most passionate about, but it really is the backbone for a lot of SASE solutions. I'll highlight these 3 numbers right away because they're important. The Meraki platform has incredibly high customer satisfaction rate, 91% renewal rate, 60% of our customers repurchasing in the first 2 years, and a 3.3x initial multiplier from that purchase, which means that when our customers make a purchase, when they get one of our devices on the dashboard, they get exposed to the management dashboard. They want more. They want to get more devices on there because it's so easy to use and see how they integrate with one another. It's a globally proven platform. It gives all the enterprises today the control they need to build that SASE solution that satisfies all of those security needs today and is ready to adapt to those needs in the future as well. Automatic updates, automatic firmware updates, security updates on a day-to-day basis happen on the Meraki dashboard, pushed out automatically to the customer. No infrastructure upgrades needed, no hardware needed whatsoever. Now, this platform supports enterprises every step of the way in the SASE journey. We've got open APIs for seamless integration across all of Cisco technologies, as well as third-party systems as well. We do play well with others too, so there's a lot you can do there. Now, one of those Cisco technologies we'll look at in the next slide here, and that's going to be Cisco Umbrella. Now, this is just bar none the best DNS protection out there. If we can go to the next slide, we'll kind of have a look at what that covers. Now, a few stats on Umbrella. 97% of advanced malware uses DNS. We call this the phone book of the internet. And we've got 85% of users admitting to not using a VPN when they're coming in remotely. I'm one of them, so I believe that stat thoroughly. And aside from that, we got 75% of offices out there that do not offer DNS protection. That's just madness in this day and age. Umbrella is just this all-encompassing service that integrates multiple security services, namely DNS protection. Best out there in that, hands down. But also firewall, secure web gateway, cloud access security broker, all kinds of things on there. Again, all backed by the Cisco Talos threat intelligence team. Now, Umbrella also includes Cisco SecureX, which you'll see there as well. That comes with all subscriptions. This is a built-in experience in all Cisco security products that connects data from across your Cisco security portfolio and your third-party tools in your security infrastructure. But it allows you to unify the visibility. It enables automation, and it strengthens your security overall. It's a fantastic tool. Comes with every single Cisco Umbrella license. We'll jump to the next slide, and we'll talk about this security solution all together here. Now, this is SASE. This is a security process simplified. We've got Duo on there. Mark mentioned it. It's so simple, it doesn't even justify a slide because it's the easiest product to get out there. It's the easiest product to add to your portfolio, to add another layer of security. to make things just absolutely secure for all your mission critical applications here. Now, if you're talking managed services, I know that's something we talked about a bit today. This is your simplified managed service solution. You look at the way things are done now or are done in the past, you're having to manage all these different security vendors, different platforms. This Cisco solution, this unified SASE solution, gives you the opportunity to unify all of that under one name, one umbrella, one single pane of glass when it comes to Meraki. And the most important piece of this is those automatic firmware updates that go out. It allows you to shift this from a CapEx expense to an OpEx expense, which can be huge for your customers. And lastly, we'll look at this last slide here real quick. This is just, again, touching on our managed service provider success in the area of SASE. When we're able to apply our SASE solutions, we get some astounding uplifts in revenue and some way over the top uplifts in margin as well for our partner community when they add Umbrella and Meraki together. Full court press on network security, on user protection. This is where managed services are really making a huge difference in their bottom line. Now with that, I'll toss it back over to Mark real quickly to talk to you about a few things available from D&H.
Thank you, John. Next slide, Ryan. John, that was awesome. So we talked about a lot today in a very, very, very short amount of time, but I did not want to leave you with our solutions now in the D&H Cloud Marketplace. And we're extremely, extremely excited to have these solutions in the D&H Cloud Marketplace today for you to buy. So let's start with Cisco Email Cloud Mailbox, right? So Cisco Email Cloud Mailbox is a wonderful solution for Microsoft 365 email. So we know a lot of companies are deploying Office 365. There are some shortcomings when it comes to securing Office 365 email. So how do we make that more hardened and more secure? Look at Secure Cloud Mailbox. So just to give you an example of pricing, very, very, very cheap price. So under 100 users, you're only looking at $1.50 per seat per month for a very robust, innovative email solution. Highly recommend looking at that. John talked about Umbrella, another great solution all around DNS security. This is also new to the DNH Cloud Marketplace. So you can start off with DNS today. Under 100 users, you're only looking at $248 per seat per month. Very, very exciting. Coming soon, we're talked about multi-factor authentication and how Duo supports that in a very easy, simplistic way. That will be soon launched here in next month on the D&H Marketplace. All right, so WebEx Meeting, the really true solution that brings a very innovative, secure, collaborative solutions to all your users now on the D&H Marketplace. This one's interesting, right? So with WebEx Meetings, you don't have to be a Cisco registered partner today. Any D&H partner that has an account with D&H can buy Cisco WebEx Meetings today at about $11.80 per seat per month without being a Cisco partner. That's very, very important. So if you're kind of on the fence of being a Cisco registered partner to go through all the steps, this is a very easy and simplified way to get started with WebEx Meetings. And then Secure Cloud Analytics, right? This is really detecting any compromises on an on-prem or cloud solution. Soon to be launched on the D&H Cloud Marketplace. Pricing is coming, but we will let you know when that launches. But we're also very excited to have this on the marketplace. Last but not least, for the current Cisco partners that are Cisco registered partners or above, we have some very exciting enablement that John is going to talk about.
Yeah, I'm going to be short and sweet on this because I do want to allow us some time for Q&A at the end. Head over to dnh.com/driven. Lots of fantastic trainings on there. Meraki 360, everything you need to know about Meraki and how it integrates with SASE. The Umbrella Workshop, there's a bit of a learning curve there. Dive in, it's a fantastic product. And we've got our collaboration SaaS certification as well. Get on the Driven program. There's great stuff on there. D&H does it better than anyone, and we've got some great content there as well. So that's all from us at Cisco, and I guess we'll kind of transfer over to a Q&A now.
Sure. Let me go ahead and stop sharing my screen. Guys, thanks a lot. That's some great information that you had there. I mean, I think the big news is really that you could sell WebEx without having to be a certified Cisco partner, and that really gets people's foot in the door to be able to feel out how the cloud marketplace works, how you can consume Cisco through the cloud marketplace. It's really a big deal for Cisco to allow that to happen. And I think if you haven't had a chance to break into the kind of Cisco market yet, that's a great way to do it and kind of get your feet wet. So thanks a lot for that, guys. And we'll go ahead and start our Q&A here. I see there was a couple questions asked, but let me clean out my screen here. I'm stuck in our meeting.
Ryan,
right,
I think a good one just came in. How do I get started in the DNH Marketplace?
Sure. So that's a great question to ask. I mean, it's a pretty easy process. If you're already a D&H customer, we just need you to sign the terms and conditions for the DNH Cloud Marketplace so you can start selling our cloud solutions. The best way to do that is reach out to probably any of the teams that we showed on the previous slide. They will walk you through the process. We also have a PDF slide available to you. If you wanted to email anyone, we can get you through that. Reach out to your core rep. They will connect you to someone. So there's multiple ways to do it. Very easy process. Like I said, all you have to do is go ahead and fill out some information, and we'll get you started on that. Nate, did you have another question there?
Yeah, I'm just reading through them. Where can I see a complete list of all the cloud and services vendors D&H offers?
I'd say the best place to see that is probably on our cloud market page on our website. If you go into DNH.com and select the cloud marketplace or the cloud solutions, it might be soon to be renamed Modern Solutions. Our whole entire line card is available to you there. And it's updated on a monthly basis, so everything is pretty much up to date.
Very cool. Let's see here. Daniel asked, what would I need to run Windows 11 Workstation in the cloud? That's not one I'm familiar with, Ryan, but I don't know if that's something you could speak to, or perhaps
sure. There's two different options that you can probably run with there. To run Windows 11 more likely you could use. Both of them will be an Azure instance, right? So there's two different ways to do it. You can spin up an Azure server and run remote desktop into it and run remote desktop on the server, or Microsoft offers the RMD solution through Microsoft, which is a standalone desktop that you can manage. The best way to get a good answer on that and have someone do a demo is to reach out to our infrastructure as a service team. Jason or Matt would be the two people that you want to reach out to, and they can walk you through both solution sets and which one's best for you.
This one's one that's kind of near and dear to my heart. We are looking into expanding into managed services. Who can help get us started? Well, that's a great question. So I would say that the best way to start there is reach out to managed services at DNH.com. My group has a number of dedicated specialists that can kind of have a consultative conversation with you, assess kind of where you're at in your business today, and then point you in the right direction as far as what solutions you need, and even go so far as to help you build out, what your solution stack would look like and what your go-to-market offering to your customers could consist of.
Yeah, I see one here from Brian. He said, I would love to be a Cisco partner, but as a one-person business, it's not possible. That is something that people run into. But what I would challenge you on that one is get with Nate's team and see what we have available through our knock and sock solution. Really, that's where they come into play. Like solutions that you can outsource and make money on would really help you out. So some of the solutions like Perch or some of the other solutions that Nate has available to him could get you into that market space and be able to have you not have to hand off or lose that business by being able to outsource it. And you're still going to make money on it regardless. And bringing your customers that level of service is really going to help your business. So definitely reach out to Nate, and he can kind of guide you through that process and find someone that might be able to help you out with becoming either a Cisco partner or already a Cisco partner and can help you kind of manage the solutions. And I see one from Rodney here is, how is a backup tested? So for a backup solution, they're tested multiple ways. So there's two different ways you can do it. If say you bought an Acronis or a Axian solution, it's kind of on you as the MSP to make sure that backup is successful and running. Typically, almost all backup solutions have kind of a sandbox environment where you can select one of the images and boot it up and make sure that the data is there and it's capable of being recovered. Now, we do offer a solution through SharTech, one of our partners, that they will manage the Axient backup for you. So what they do is for a small monthly fee, you'll put an Axient solution in place, and then they will monitor, manage it, and also make sure that the backup is being tested on a regular basis. So I would suggest if it's something that you feel like you can manage on your own, I would reach out to Nate's team and have them go through the different solutions we have for backup. If it's something where you feel like you need a managed backup solution, we have a solution in place for that as well. Let's see. Do I need to be a Cisco partner to sell the email security product for 365? Can you, one of the Cisco guys, answer that question for us? They still on?
Can you repeat the question?
Yeah, Mark.
They asked, do I need to be a Cisco partner to sell the email security product?
No. And I forgot to mention that one is also open to non-Cisco partners.
Okay. Yeah, I see you replied there. So.
Yep.
All right. Well, I think that's all the questions. That anyone else has anything else they want to go over? If not, we can. I know we're a couple minutes over here, so we can want to be appreciative of everyone's time. All right. Well, thanks everybody for joining the call. We will work with the team here to see who won the gift card, and we'll thank you for attending D&H's event today. And I hope you learned some stuff. And please reach out to the corresponding teams for any questions you have or any support that you may need. To be happy to help you out. Thanks a lot, everybody, and we'll look forward to working with you.